Joining me now is Cindy Hackelberg, representing the NDP party. Welcome, Cindy.
Thank you.
You now have 1 minute to introduce yourself before we start with our questions.
Sure. Hi, I am Cindy Hackelberg, your NDP candidate in Thornhill. I'm running in this by-election because I care deeply about this community. I was born and raised in York Region, and I live here in Thornhill with my husband, David. We love this community and want it to be the best it can be. Working as a senior manager in the high-tech industry, I commute daily to my job using GO Transit. I understand the challenges residents face, and I feel well prepared to take the priorities of Thornhill to Queen's Park. New Democrats and our leader, Andrea Horwath, have shown that politics can be done differently. Over the last 2 years, Andrea has shown she's the kind of leader who can deliver for people. The NDP has a plan that focuses on creating jobs, strengthening healthcare, and making life more affordable. Thornhill residents have a real choice in this by-election. You can vote for a candidate who will put your needs first. I will work for you, Thornhill, and be a strong voice for our community at Queen's Park. On February 13, vote Cindy Hackelberg.
Thank you, Cindy. And
Thank
let's
you.
watch for the first question on the video camera.
What policies would they put in place to help create more jobs or bring businesses to the Thornhill community?
Okay, Cindy, jobs and businesses in the community.
This is something that's very important to the NDP. We've been looking at ways to create more jobs, and we feel that the best way to create jobs is to incentivize companies, give them an incentive, and we think that using a tax credit, a job creator tax credit, is the way to go. The only way we're going to stabilize our economy and address our deficit is for people to get jobs, real jobs, not part-time, low-paying jobs. The NDP have a strong plan and a strategy around this job creator tax credit. It's very simple, specifically focused on small and medium enterprise businesses. If you create a job, if you invest in your people, if you invest in research and innovation, you get a job creator tax credit. But I'll tell you what's not working. What's not working is giving no strings attached tax cuts to companies when they're not creating jobs. It has not been proven that jobs are created in that way, so we would like to see incentives and incentives to creating jobs and ways to stimulate the economy.
Great. Thank you very much. Let's look for question 2.
My question to the candidate is, how would you improve the traffic good law in Thornhill?
So this one is about traffic gridlock. How would you do that?
So I personally am a commuter. I commute to work every day using GO Transit from Langstaff Station here in Thornhill, and I see the problems that exist. It's hard to drive downtown. We have traffic gridlock on the streets, and even taking transit takes a long time. The frequency of service that we have here from Thornhill to downtown Toronto is very infrequent compared to other communities. We have other communities like Oakville or Hamilton where they get service every 10 to 20 minutes. And from rush hour, if we're looking at 5:30 p.m. to try to get home, if you don't make that train, you're waiting until 6:45, which is 75 minutes. So this is a real concern. New Democrats are focused on expanding transit and expanding transportation, and we're committed to making improvements. What we will not do is increase taxes and increase tolls. We feel that Ontarians need a plan that is balanced, fair, and effective, and that shouldn't be making life more expensive. We will not be, we do not wish to increase 407 type toll lanes. We don't want to have which are called Lexus lanes. We want that completely dropped from the budget. We're opposed to a gasoline tax. We won't have an extra gasoline tax. We're opposed to those measures, but there are ways that we can actually fund public transit. First off is that we don't want to see corporate taxes cut. The Liberal government is looking at cutting corporate taxes to 10%. That's the first thing that we think should stay the same. The second thing is that we created the high earner tax on people that are earning over $500,000. That's an extra 2% surtax on the wealthiest people in this province. Also, the Liberals are looking at a corporate tax loophole where companies can actually write off their HST if they're entertaining clients. So if all of those things stay the same, we have $3.1 billion that we can work with, and we think that that's a very good start to funding a transit system here in Thornhill.
Thank you, Cindy. Let's move on to the next question, question 3.
As a student, I'm worried about tuition fees. They're extremely high, and it's hard working, having a job, and going to school. What are you going to be doing about that if you're elected?
That's a very good question. The cost of post-secondary education has consistently gone up. The province is contributing less. Students are graduating to debilitating debt to an economy that is stalled and stagnant, and there are no jobs. Here in Ontario, we have one of the highest tuition rates in all of the country, and we understand that this is a really big problem. We would like to see tuition be frozen because the rising cost of tuition is prohibitive. I know some students, I've met them door to door, and some have gone to part-time status. Sometimes they've dropped out, and it's such a loss of potential. So we have tuition freeze on the table. Giving tuition grants and rebates and credits as costs go up is meaningless. Ontario has one of the highest rates, as I've said, and lots of promises have been made by the government, but they have not been kept. Our commitment is to work with student unions and keep on a freeze for tuition rates.
Thank you. And our next question on the video.
What would you do if you were elected to better the waiting times in the emergency section of the hospital?
That's a really good question. It's something I hear door to door while I'm knocking on doors is people from all walks of life are very concerned about healthcare, and they're very concerned about having a family doctor, and the wait times in emergency rooms are much too high. I met a gentleman the other day, and he said he was waiting over 9 hours just to see somebody, just to see a doctor. And it's a real concern, the cuts that we've had to the healthcare system recently. And New Democrats are focused on expanding healthcare options and making sure that we have a system in place that people can depend on. So not only does that mean making sure that the emergency room wait times are down, but also home care wait times, because we have a number of seniors that are waiting for home care, and the wait times are just too long. So our commitment is to cap home care wait times to 5 days, and also to reduce the emergency room wait times. And one of those measures is making sure that we're spending money more efficiently. If you are aware of the gas plant cancellations, that cost taxpayers $1.1 billion. With that money, we could have actually hired 18,000 doctors and nurses throughout the province. And that would, of course, speed up the wait times in emergency rooms and making sure that we're investing in this system. So we're very committed to making sure that that's one of our top commitments, top priorities, is expanding healthcare, and I would work very hard in that regard.
Thank you, Cindy. And our last question was coming up in the video.
A lot of people that haven't been making money over the years have not been able to put aside money for a good pension. Why can't we improve on the pension here in Ontario?
That's an excellent question. Pensions are 2 out of 3 Canadians actually do not have a pension plan, so it's something that the NDP party is very concerned about. Nobody should have to worry about whether they'll be able to pay the bills when they retire. And the cost of living is continuing to increase, which creates real challenges for seniors on fixed incomes. We've been putting forward real solutions for years, while the Liberals have promised change, but nobody has delivered on that. So actually in 2010, the New Democratic Party put forward the Ontario Pension Plan, and not a single Liberal voted in favor for it. So now there's been some talk, and we hope that we can have a pension plan in place for people. It's one of the measures that is our commitment to making life more affordable. We want to make sure that people, as they age and grow older, that they have money that they can rely on, because I keep hearing at the doorstep how life is getting more and more expensive. There's the increasing cost of rent, of putting food on the table, for your condo fees. Car insurance is another big issue that we're focused on, making sure that we're reducing car insurance rates. We have some of the highest rates in the province. We'd like to see them reduced by 15%, and that's a commitment that we have put forward. So in regards to pension, as I said, we did put forward a plan in 2010. We want to see that plan be executed on. It's up to the Liberals to try to put that through. We've been working very hard in a minority government setting, and we'll continue to put through ideas such as this one. And we want to make sure that people are well taken care of, and that there is a plan available for them in their later years.
Thank you. So this is a by-election, Cindy, and we've got a few minutes left before we're going to wrap it up here. And because it is a by-election, we won't really be having a great debate about who the next premier would be. So when people are considering how to cast their vote in Thornhill, why should they choose you versus one of the other candidates that are there?
Well, personally, I'm a strong advocate. I work hard for this community. I ran in the 2011 election, and Andrea Horvath from the NDP has been working very hard in a minority government setting. When it came time to this past year in the past budget, we delivered for families in Ontario. When people said that they wanted a leader to put families first, Andrea Horvath rolled up her sleeves and she got to work. New Democrats delivered a youth jobs plan to get young people working and keep them working. New Democrats delivered a cut to home care wait times so that our loved ones can get the care they need when they need it. And New Democrats delivered a promise to cut auto insurance premiums so that life gets more affordable. So we want to see auto insurance go down by 15%. We've pushed that through. We pushed the government to agree to that. They've agreed to it. It's now been 8 months and we've yet to see them deliver on that promise. So we will continue to push, but our priorities are the priorities of the people in the province and for families. And I will work very hard with Andrea Horvath. We also delivered a financial accountability office, and the focus of that office is to give real independent numbers so that we can stop waste before it starts. So and I hear at the doorstep all the time, families are disappointed about the amount of waste in the government. We had $1.1 billion that was wasted on a gas plant scandal, just canceling a gas plant. That's costing you, that's costing me. Every taxpayer has to pay for that. That's not to mention e-health, that's not to mention Orange. Then we have the PCs, and they're sitting on the sidelines. Where has Tim Hudak been when it came time to create jobs, when it came time to strengthen healthcare, when it came time to make life more affordable, and when it came time to make Queen's Park more transparent and accountable, when we put forward this financial accountability office, Tim Hudak was stuck on the sidelines and he voted against it. So our goals are making sure that we have a better Ontario and a better Thornhill. I feel it's possible. I will work very hard for this community. I understand the needs of this community. I was brought up here in New York Region. I've been working here. I live in Thornhill with my husband. As I mentioned earlier, I commute every day downtown, so I understand the challenges of a commuter, and there are definite improvements that need to be made. I want to see those improvements be made. I want to see the subway come to Thornhill, up to Richmond Hill, and there are, of course, ways that there's challenges. How are we going to fund it? And we feel like we've got strong ideas on how to fund a transit system up here, and it's about finding ways to stop waste. It's about ensuring that people's taxpayer dollars are being respected and spent in a way that puts their needs first and focuses on them. So I've had a lot of good conversations with people on their doorsteps. I've been listening to what people have to say, and that's something that the NDP is very strong and proud about, is the fact that we're listening to Ontarians. So we will listen to people's voices. We will listen to them and ask them. We'll continue to ask them what are their priorities, what matters to them, and making sure that we're continuing to make life more affordable. One of the ways we want to do that is by reducing the cost of hydro, and we put that forward in the budget. It was agreed to. It's been 8 months. We haven't seen it happen yet, but 15% cut on hydro is very important, particularly here in Thornhill. We've got one of the highest auto insurance rates in the province, and creating jobs is a really big concern. And people in Thornhill, I mean, there's this impression that it's a very affluent riding, and it is. There are a lot of people that are quite well off, but there are also people that are struggling, that they're working 2 jobs, they're trying to make ends meet, and we need to ensure that life is more affordable, but that also jobs are available. And that's why it's so important that we have this job creator tax credit plan to incentivize companies to create jobs.
Okay, well, we've got about a minute. If there's any final wrap-up you'd like to make and close up.
So I want to thank you. These are opportunities for us to learn and to listen and to better represent your needs and concerns. Knocking on doors, I've heard the disappointment and distrust people have in politicians. The Liberal government is more interested in its own political fortunes and holding on to power than they are for delivering for people. It's why they wasted over $1 billion to cancel 2 gas plants. But when people said they needed a leader to put families first, Andrea Horwath rolled up her sleeves and got to work. I will work hard with Andrea Horwath to ensure that we are delivering for families in Ontario. We need to strengthen her caucus. I would like to be your next MPP for Thornhill and represent your needs, represent the needs of families here in Thornhill, in Ontario. Having a better Thornhill, it is possible. We can do this together. You need a champion and an advocate, and I will be that person for you.
Thank you very much, Cindy.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your time.
Thank you.